Hello, everyone. My name is Elizabeth, the Education Coordinator for Marlene's Market and Deli. Welcome to our virtual classroom here, available, thank goodness, for Zoom. And tonight's wonderful presenter, we have Hansie Wong. She is a local health coach and MD, and we're very excited for her to be here with us tonight on Spring Clean Your Life. Hansie, take the live stream floor.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Thanks everybody for joining. And I know some people are still coming on, so I might just wait a couple minutes if that's okay, Elizabeth.
Oh yeah, totally. We can you can maybe introduce yourself a little bit.
Okay.
Talk about what you do in the community because you do so much.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. So I was just saying that in person, I love doing these things in person because I get to see you and I get to see your face and we get to interact a little bit more. And I usually try to remember everybody's name and faces as they come in. And this way I really don't get to see you, but I know your names. But this is an interactive workshop. So I hope that you will unmute yourselves and interact a little bit because a lot of my style is about interaction and based on that. And I am an integrative health coach as well as an integrative family physician. And I work at Health Point part-time. So the community health center just up the road on Pac Highway. On that one, there's also one in Federal Way. I also teach Tai Chi and Qigong at the Federal Way Community Center. And those classes have still been going on Zoom through the pandemic. So if you're interested in that, definitely, shoot me an email and I will, I'll write an email right here, my email, to contact me. And I'll probably write this again at the end. Oh my gosh. Right. And yeah. And hopefully if you're interested in keeping in contact with me, or if you want to be on my kind of contact list and you want to know about future events, then hopefully you will also send me your email or write it in the chat and I'll write it down, or I can get it from Elizabeth, hopefully, if you give permission. I don't want to get it without permission from everyone. So good. And feel free. Okay, good. Karen. Is that at, okay, well. So yeah, feel free to either, oh, thanks. Thank you, Karen. Either unmute yourself and talk or in chat if you're shy to talk, because this is going to be recorded. It is recorded right now. So if you're shy, then I will, and Elizabeth will as well, hopefully be looking at the chat, and I'll try to be presenting those things too.
Definitely. I'm here to help.
Oh wait, Laura Johnson, Laura's here. Cool. Just wait a few minutes. Does anybody have any questions so far? I know some people, I recognize a few names: Marietta, Laura, David, Gail. Hello. Yeah. And everybody else, welcome as well.
Regulars here.
I do have some regulars.
Oh, definitely. We have several actually. This is great.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, it's really cool.
Yay! And we
have
4 people watching on Facebook as well.
Okay. All right. Hello, Facebook Livers. I'm not on Facebook right now, but you could probably see Elizabeth if they're chatting on there.
Oh, yes.
You have that on?
I am your little helper for being a moderator.
All right, cool. We'll probably need a lot of that. So I'll probably just give another minute and then we'll get right in, but just know that this is interactive. Oh yeah, so one thing you might want is a pen and paper or writing utensils and paper. And maybe a quiet space if that's possible. And, cool. And then I was saying, for those who are just joining, if you want to share your email and want to get on my list for future workshops, then please just write your email in the chat. You can direct message me here in the chat box here on Zoom, or just tell Elizabeth that it's okay for her to share your information when you registered. Cool. All right, Dorothy's coming. Cool.
Yeah, and Hansie, you've actually taught a few of the Qigong classes at Marlene's.
Yes, I did a Qigong, and I think yeah, and I have one coming up in June.
Yes, we
Hopefully,
do. June 10th.
maybe that can be in person. I don't know. Maybe.
Oh, yeah. We got to get through phase 4, I think.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Which is like, dang it.
I know. Okay. Hi, Dorothy.
Hey, look at this. This is a lot of great people. Thanks so much for being here. We're gonna have such a great workshop.
Yeah. All righty, guys. Oh, thanks, Mila. Writing yours down.
Not many brave souls.
Want to show their face? Yeah. Thank you, Mila and Gail. Cabrera. All right, let me just write this down and I will.
I would, but I'm afraid I will be too much of a distraction because I need to be making dinner while I'm listening.
Uh-oh. Okay.
Well, you know what's super great is that with this being Facebook Live is that you're able to view it anytime. So if you do miss a part or a section, you're like, what did she say? You can always view this on Facebook on whichever day that it follows on. So Tuesdays are our Tacoma Facebook page and Thursdays is our Federal Waste Store page.
All right, cool. And thanks, Laura. It's good to see you or know that you're here, know your presence. No, it's been a while. All right. Yeah, just writing down emails here. Okay, here we go. All right, I guess we'll get started. So welcome, and we're going to spring clean your life. So and it's not just the cluttering, so the material stuff, we will also be going through other aspects of life, going through not just the physical, but also diet and activity and what you're doing. We might need to spring clean or trim down some of our activity and food. The other thing is relationships, what David had brought up just a little while ago before we started, and also time, where we spend our time and where we can maybe spring clean that. So again, this is an interactive workshop, and you will need probably a pen and paper or a writing utensil and a paper to get the most out of this. And we'll just kind of dive right in. So we're going to take a mindful approach to this, so kind of looking at in what kind of a Marie Kondo way. I don't know if any of you have read her book about kind of cleaning up and tidying up your life, but it is a similar approach in terms of what brings you joy, what do you gain from the things in your life, and where can we kind of trim off. But we're going to do it kind of in a mindful way. Does anybody have any questions before we begin about me or my bio or what we're going to be doing? All right, I gotta keep an eye on this message thing here, which I'm not really used to people just talking. But all right, so and again, yeah, I will try to keep an eye on here, but Elizabeth will as well, and as well as on Facebook. But if you want to just shout out, feel free to unmute yourself. But just know that this is going to be, you're having a hard time hearing. It was louder at the beginning. I don't know about that one. Elizabeth, maybe you can help with Morgan. But feel free to unmute yourself. Just know that this is being recorded. So if you're shy, you can always just chat in here. All right. Okay. So the first aspect we're going to go through is probably the easiest to think about, and that's our material stuff. What can we get rid of? What do we need to get rid of? And what can we keep? So I just want to, before we begin, just kind of get a space where you can be quiet and sit down and maybe take a few deep breaths together, just so we're in this space together and centering yourself to get your mindset in this realm of spring cleaning. So we'll just take a couple of breaths together, breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. And just perhaps slowing your breath down a little bit. Again, breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. Maybe just bringing your attention to here, to this hour and a half. And last one, breathing in and breathing out. And you can keep your eyes closed here, and I'm just going to walk you through a visualization. And just imagine yourself, I know most of you are probably at home, but just imagine yourself walking through your front door and taking a look in your home, And just noticing how you feel when you see things in your home or when you're about to open the door. Are you excited to be home? Are you cringing to be home? What is there behind that door expecting you? Are there kids? Are there pets? Is there chaos? Is there a significant other? Or is it empty, quiet? And just notice how you feel, before you walk in that door, about your feelings of being home. And as you walk in the door, as you open the door, notice what you
I think you froze.
Oh, Hansie, I think you froze.
It happens with her computer periodically, but not for long.
Well, in the meantime, while she's coming back, how did everyone hear about this class? Was it
see
online?
first.
Oh, there she is.
Okay, I'm back. Okay.
Okay.
Sometimes I freeze and you can hear me, but I'm actually using a different computer, Gail. So this one actually should be better, but who knows? It's all about the internet. I apologize. So I was just leading us through that visualization through your door. Hopefully you heard that part coming in through your door and just noticing what you see in your home. And just looking around, taking a really good look around, since when we think about spring cleaning, we mostly think about our home and our living environment. And just looking around your space, what things make you cringe when you see them? Just notice how you feel when you're kind of looking around and exploring your space. And what things make you smile? Perhaps a pet, perhaps a plant, perhaps some flowers or an aroma. Maybe just walking through your usual routine when you come in the door. The closet, maybe when you open the closet to put your shoes or your jacket in. And just notice when you look in there, really look in there. Notice how you feel. Is it cluttered? Do you not want to open that door? Or is it pretty, it's pretty organized? And as you walk into your bedroom, maybe taking a look in your bedroom, seeing what makes you smile, perhaps pictures, and what makes you cringe, maybe piled clothes on the floor. So just notice, taking some time to really notice how you feel when you're looking at these things, visualizing walking in your room, maybe walking through other parts of your home, the bathroom, the kitchen. So just taking some time to explore around your surroundings, your living space. Noticing how you're feeling in your body. And if you're really set on spring cleaning, maybe go to the room that really needs the most help as you look through that room or closet that we've been avoiding. Just in your mind, mentally, sift through some things. Just take a look first. And just being aware of that first reaction you have when you see something. Just like that first reaction you have when you're about to walk in your door to your home. All right, just making a note of these things. And when you're ready, maybe just opening your eyes and writing down. So this is where you can write down what things did you see can you do without? What things at home can you do without? What things made you cringe when you saw them in your mind or when you're seeing them now, you're at home? Just taking some time to write that down. And conversely or inversely, I'm not really sure, what things make you smile? What adds value to your life and makes life easier? These could be, a lot of useful tools More things in the kitchen aids, very useful. Really reflecting on those things and writing that down. So the first side is what things can you do without, what things made you cringe when you saw them, when you see them. And the other side of the page, perhaps you can list what things make you smile and what adds value to your life and makes life easier. These are material things we're thinking about here. And when you're ready, maybe just share. If anyone wants to share, you don't have to, but it's more fun if you do. Just kind of maybe your instincts or your first reactions. It might have surprised you. Anything surprise you with the visualization? Anything that you might have noticed? That you, sometimes we have stuff in our homes and we don't really see them until we see them. And then when you see them, you're like, how long has that been there for? I really don't need that, right? So any thoughts? Feel free, yeah, go ahead, David.
Yeah, I'll share a little bit. So one thing that I can do without in my house is all of the bric-a-brac. We have a word in Hebrew, or yeah, I guess it's Yiddish, tchotchkes. You probably heard that word, tchotchkes.
Okay.
There's a lot of like odd gifts and things that we acquire that don't really have any real value.
Yeah.
That just take up space.
Yeah.
Another thing I thought of in my house when I enter the house and go, I'm automatically in the living room. I acquired a piano about 5 years ago from the cantor at my synagogue, and I was very excited to get it. I didn't have to pay for it. I played the piano when I was very young, and I was happy to have it. But right now it's covered over with bric-a-brac and items that I don't really play the piano too much.
Yeah.
So I even have a hard time getting to the piano. I'm ashamed to say. So it's been bothering me for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah. And it sounds like that was something that you were drawn to in this visualization. So maybe something, something that you enjoy and brings you joy was covered up by something that makes you cringe. Yeah, that's great. I mean, great realization. Thanks for sharing, David. Anybody else want to share what came up or anything that surprised you or what they thought about this visualization?
I always go back to spring cleaning my clothes because it, it's like the seasons changing, time to put away those winter clothes, maybe go through those winter clothes one more time before you put them away, bringing out the fresh, seeing what's new and old, technically, because it's like you hadn't seen most of these clothes in months and you're like, I forgot I had this sweater. Or, oh my gosh, look at this skirt. And a lot of time for me, I almost do it every season or every few months. I have to go through my clothes. So that was one of like, I imagined like a pile, a laundry basket, and I was like, okay, it is time.
Good. Cool. Awesome. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah. Anyone else got any sharings? Don't be scared.
I'm actually sitting at my husband's laptop. I see I'm
Sharing that, Elizabeth.
on the screen, which is fine, but I'm on his laptop because I thought I would be. And I'm in a nice part of the house. Well, we have some pretty nice parts, but I'm in a tidy place versus where my computer is and all the action and all the clutter, and I have a very bad Zoom background, which I've been trying to disguise, physically. I have a terrible shelf that's just so cluttery. I can't show it to you. So anyway, and I also related to David and the piano. I have a very similar situation. I was interested and even enjoying hearing that.
Yeah, great. So what's your situation like, David's? Is something that you enjoy or brings you joy covered up with clutter? Mary?
Are you talking to Mary?
Oh, to Mary, yeah. What was her, yeah.
To me again?
Yeah, to what was your object that brings you joy, that is covered up?
Oh, well, let's see. Well, I went first to the room that needs most help, which is where my computer is. And the computer brings me joy. And I have some nice posters on the wall and pictures of friends and all that. But beyond that, there's just a lot of papers and things I need to go through that are stacked on the shelf. And here's another musical anecdote. Oh boy, this is going to be on the public thing. Oh well. But I have a very old electronic organ from my mother and from way back in '65. It was lovely when she got it and we enjoyed it, and I played it growing up and all that. But it's been an albatross for about 20 years now, and she passed away and 20 years ago, and I was going to give it, in fact I tried to, or sell it, but give it, and a musician friend persuaded me to hang on to it because it has a full pedal board, which is a big deal, and I am a professional musician. I play at church, etc. But I'm sorry to say it's been sitting in the corner taking up a lot of that space. And now, and at one point I looked into, I'll stop in a second, but at one point, quite a while ago, we looked into how it could be repaired. Well, it really can't. It's so old and the technology is different. And then now, we're going to have to pay to get it out of the house, and it will really free up space. So anyway, that's
the thing you're kind of still on edge about whether or not to keep it or not. Yeah.
Oh, and
so
I don't want to keep it, but it's really hard to let go of it.
To get rid of it, yeah.
Physically, it's and financially. So,
Can I say one more thing about the piano,
Yeah.
if I could, real briefly? So the cantor asked me several years later, after he gave it to me, how it's going with the piano. And my friends ask me all the time, "Are you playing the piano?" The cantor actually said to me, "The piano is crying out to you. It's crying out to you."
Sounds like now is the time, David.
This may be the past.
Sounds like now is the time. So that's great. That brings us to our next kind of exercise about what we're going to do with this information, right, that we just got. So I want you to write down, just thinking about your list of what makes you cringe and what you can do without versus what brings you joy. And three action steps to maybe lessen those things that make you cringe. So either give rid of them or change it into something that makes you smile, or increase what makes you smile. So 3 ways you can do that. So some examples, nobody really mentioned this, but for some examples, if like plants make you smile when you walk in and you have live plants and kind of greenery in your house, then maybe increasing that in your home would be a way to kind of increase things that bring you joy there. For David, just getting rid of all that bric-a-brac on the piano, right? And playing the piano. Actually playing the piano will increase the joy. Maybe not even getting rid of the bric-a-brac, maybe just playing the piano, just kind of moving it aside. You can even keep it and just playing the piano. That will increase the thing that gives you joy. For Mary, again, your room with the computer. I'm trying to think about how can you increase what brings you joy, which is your computer, and decrease what makes you cringe. So your solution right now, bringing your computer or your laptop into your husband's room, right? Kind of can do that. So without actually having to clean up. So there are ways to do this without actually having to clean up. And I don't want to discourage against cleaning up, because I do think that obviously we're here to spring clean, but think about how can we also increase things that bring us joy, not just necessarily needing to get rid of things that don't bring us joy. It's hard to let go sometimes, and sometimes it's easier to increase, right? Things that bring us joy and love and smiles. So just take some time now to write down just 3 things that you can do, 3 easy things that you can do, maybe this coming week, to decrease those things that make you cringe or increase something that makes you smile.
Shay
When you're
said
ready,
on
yeah.
Facebook that fresh cut flowers make her smile.
Beautiful. Yeah, absolutely. So increasing that is easy, especially if you have a beautiful garden. Yeah. I like that. Yeah. And now that it's springtime, we have a lot of beautiful flowers, colors, bringing that in, brightening up the home. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for sharing. Yeah. And anybody, yeah.
Just the living room and the inside room, it can be the garage and so the yard as well, right?
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. I've seen your garage, Gail.
That's why I thought we would want to add that.
Yeah. I can include your garage, because that's often where we hide things.
I made a big effort this morning.
Yeah, good. Yeah, and these don't have to be big steps. They could just be, hey, just taking 15 minutes to go through, or just use your arm, David. Just take all that stuff that's on top of the piano and shove it in a plastic bag.
Can I continue with the musical analogy, two other analogies?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I once heard in a workshop somebody say that, like, I also had a guitar in the bottom of my closet, and it never got played. I never learned how to play it even. But somebody said if you want, what you should do is you should get a guitar stand so that you can actually see the guitar that's out in the open.
Yeah.
And I was thinking the same thing. I have a large CD collection of music CDs, but they're all buried in boxes and stuff. So I recently ordered a CD tower.
Yeah.
And it came, but I wasn't happy with it, so I returned it. But I think if I can just get the music collection out in the open where I can see the individual CDs, I'll be much happier.
Yeah, I think that's great. Those are 2 great ideas to increase what makes you happy. And yeah, just having the CDs available, right? We often connect with what we see. If you don't see it, it's kind of hidden, right? We kind of brush it under the rug. But yeah, having those CDs out there hopefully you'll be more likely to play them, and your home will be more filled with music, which brings you joy. So great ideas. Thanks, David. Anybody else have any other ideas or struggles want to share?
I took 5 bags of bags, grocery bags that big, full of bags over to Winco, because they'll recollect them.
Oh yeah, bags of bags. Yeah,
Bags.
nice.
Now in the garage that you didn't see before.
Yeah.
And I took two bags of potting soil. I wheelbarrow over to Cheryl and gave her 2 bags of potting soil, and that got that out of the garage, because you can't get to what I need to work on with that heavy thing in the way.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah. So these are great action steps that you've already been doing, but you can continue to write them. I mean, they're simple things.
There's more
But
to it.
Yeah, I mean, but they're they're simple things that you might already have piles of stuff ready to go be donated, right? Or thrown out or whatever. And you just need to do them. And so that's where this would come in. These would be your action steps. Go to drop off stuff at Goodwill, and
That's what
just
helping this class will do for me.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what we're helping you with, thinking you through these things. Thanks for sharing. Anybody else have any other action steps that they're going to do maybe this week?
I am going to, so similar thing how you just said, like, oh, you might already have it sorted in piles. I had my basement flood where my storage space is. Thank goodness I've already learned from a previous time of it flooding to have all my stuff in totes. But there were some things that did get damaged even though they were in totes. So I quickly got rid of all that stuff, but I had to pull it all out of my storage room. And what I was already starting for my Goodwill pile all got mixed in with my storage stuff. So I know it's all there. I just need to rediscover the treasures that are going to no longer be mine and donated. So
Right.
it's like, what is all this stuff? Is this mine or is this
Yeah.
so that's my task for this week.
Excellent. And I love how you describe that, treasures that will no longer be yours, that you're giving away to somebody else. I like that because they are treasures. They were treasures to us at one time.
They're going to be someone else's treasures.
That's right. That's right. I like that. Thanks, Elizabeth. Cool. Anybody else?
Hansie,
Oh.
I was going to try and work on the paperwork that is files and files because
okay.
I'm one of those that don't do the computer.
Mhm.
Is there a place where I can find out how long one should save for, like,
Taxes?
yeah, taxes for one, I think is 3 years, but
Yeah.
or something like that. But other things too, like bills that I've been paid and I don't know why I still save them.
Yeah.
But I don't know how the cutoff is or where to find that
The
information.
cutoff is 0. You don't actually need to keep them.
Okay.
Because
Don't
you
save
get them,
anything.
you can get them online. And I know you're not online.
Right.
And so, but you can always access them if you so chose to. But if you, I would say a year,
A year. Okay.
because if you really don't need to save those at all.
Right. That's what everybody tells me, but
Yeah.
I wasn't sure. I
I
wanted to
know,
make
yeah, and I
sure.
know, and because you're not used to the online thing, I would just say
Right.
a year.
Okay.
That's off my head. That's not, a hard
Right.
cutoff.
Right.
Another rule of thumb my husband gave it me was you save the first bill and the last bill. And all of your phone bills for years and years and years in between, you don't care.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, you could also just keep the latest one, Dorothy.
But
Okay.
sometimes you want to know how long have you owned this and how long have you had it.
Right.
Now, if it's papers on your house, you need some of those papers from the very beginning.
Right.
What it was worth and so forth. So.
But in terms of bills, it could just be the latest one. Once you get the new one, throw out the old one. Get the new one, throw out the
Okay.
old one. Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
That's great. That's great, Gail. Yeah,
Absolutely.
and that'll help you. That'll help you at least give you a guideline, I guess, to
Right.
not be afraid to throw away those things. And shred. I would definitely shred those if you can.
Right.
They
I have a
personal-
file here that I
Also-
need to shred. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Mhm.
If you get enough, you can have a truck come and they'll shred cartons of stuff. And,
Yeah.
and yeah, right in front of you, so you can see that they're not gonna get distributed somewhere.
It was Dorothy, right, that was talking about the bill.
Mhm.
So are you computer savvy at all, or is it just the internet that you don't want to deal with?
I'm not savvy with computer. No, I wouldn't say I'm savvy.
Okay, well,
I chose not to
Um,
learn too, of course.
yeah. Well, hey, look, you're
I'm on the Zoom now.
on the Zoom. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here. Yeah, I was gonna suggest maybe if you were computer savvy, even getting a scanner and then having an electronic file on your computer. But
That's another level of magnitude, yeah.
Way above me.
Exactly. It's kind of like, is it worth it?
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, good. All right, let's go on to our second area of life. So this is our diet and activity. So kind of doing a similar exercise just thinking through perhaps a day's meal. So breakfast, lunch, and dinner, maybe mid-morning meal, mid-afternoon meal, maybe dessert. And so just kind of taking some time to think through what you eat. Maybe just start with yesterday or today, what you had today. You don't have to go back so far or in general even, but just today, just think about what you ate today, what you ate this morning, what you did this morning in terms of activity, because we're talking about activity too. And maybe noticing how you felt when you ate certain foods. So we're often not in touch with that. Were you hungry when you ate? What foods perhaps gave you more energy? What foods perhaps made you more sleepy or tired and drained you? Just kind of thinking about from today, what you ate just today, from breakfast, perhaps mid-morning, lunch, mid-afternoon, dinner, or maybe just snacks. Maybe you just snacked all day. So just thinking about the foods that you ate and also what you did in between. So your activity level and thinking about what actions or inactions. So this is physical activity. What actions or inactions drained you? Were you sitting around all day? Was that draining? Was that tiring? Were you in a car all day, traveling? Thinking about starting from today, because that's kind of a good jumping board. But you could think about in general as well, your activity level. What activities energize you? Perhaps walking outside, hiking, getting out in nature, biking. Music, could be playing music, dancing. Just kind of taking a moment there. And again, writing down those two columns. On one side, it would be what foods drain you and what actions or inactions drain you. And then on the other side, what foods give you energy? What activities energize you? And when you're ready, feel free to share if you want to, or chat. You could always type. So I don't know if you guys are Zoom chat savvy, but on this menu bar on the bottom of the Zoom, there's a chat icon. If you click on that, you can just type in, there should be a box that comes up on the right side. You can just type a message. So if you're shy and you don't want to unmute yourself or be recorded, then you can just type in there. And also on Facebook, feel free to type. Otherwise, just shout out.
Shay on Facebook said that singing energizes her, fruit screens, and smoothies.
Awesome. I love that. Yes. Did anybody? Yeah, so that's great that you realize that. Oftentimes we don't realize what gives us energy, or we don't realize what drains us. So thanks for sharing that. Did anybody notice, or was anybody surprised at perhaps anything that drains them? It always surprises me that, sitting in a car traveling for like a 2-hour road trip is draining, even though you're not doing anything. Like that's really draining for me. That inactivity and just sitting, even though you're not doing anything, even just flying, right? On a long flight, even though not necessarily doing anything, it's very draining. So, but anybody else want to share?
I won't mention any other names, but another member of my household watches quite a lot of TV, and that really drains me. I listen a lot to the public radio and music. I find TV to be really draining on me.
Yeah, like background noise. Okay, thanks, David, for sharing that. Good. Anybody else? All right, it's okay. So kind of same thing, if nobody else, and you can still feel free to share, but under this kind of the 3 action steps, again, in what ways can you decrease the foods that drain you and increase the foods or activities that energize you? Thinking about things that you can actually do. So an action step is something that you can actually do and implement. So how can you bring in, for example, Shane mentioned the singing. How can you bring that in? You can sing and eat the greens and cook perhaps at the same time, right? That would be cool. But how can you increase what brings you joy or what energizes you and decrease what doesn't? And oftentimes, like for example, junk food, you might notice that junk food energizes us for a short term. And then afterwards, we kind of get this crash and it really maybe drains us. And so how can you maybe choose a better alternative or maybe lessen it in a way that is just enough to sustain you and not give you that crash? So ideas, yeah. So writing down 3 action steps, 3 things that you can actually do to decrease or maybe minimize the things that drain you in terms of food and activity, and increase those that give you activity. So it might just mean going out for a walk every day.
Can I chime in?
Yeah, go ahead, David.
So I know I've been interested in John Kabat-Zinn, and I know mindful eating is really like
Yes.
a technique that you can talk about if you like.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So you might not even need to change anything in terms of what you're eating, but doing it in a mindful way can bring a lot more joy to that as well. And it's funny that you bring that up, David, because I'm actually teaching a mindfulness class through the Federal Way Community Center on Friday mornings, and Gail and Dorothy are part of that. And yeah, we basically practice mindfulness together. And one of the first exercises we do is a mindful eating exercise. So yeah, it just brings a lot more depth and a lot more meaning to even whatever you're eating. So you might not even need to change what you're eating, but it brings joy to that experience. Thanks for bringing that up, David. Absolutely. And if you're interested in mindfulness or more about mindfulness, John Kabat-Zinn is a great resource. He has a school out in Western Massachusetts, but I believe the community center itself actually has a formal 10-week mindfulness-based stress reduction course that's based on John Kabat-Zinn's course, as well as various other areas. I think St. Francis, their psych department, might also offer it. Various hospital departments and hospitals might offer it as well. So something to look into if you're interested in that.
The last name again is
John Kabat-Zinn. So KABAT hyphen ZINN. Is it 2 N's? Let me see here. Yeah, ZINN.
good.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. Thanks. Cool. Anybody else? Anybody want to share their action steps of how they can kind of implement food or bring more joy in eating and food and activity, maybe decrease what drains them?
Giving yourself more time to make healthier choices in food,
Mm-hmm.
and B, decreasing the amount of time that's going to take you to create that healthy food, because that's, I think, part of the reason why people don't eat that healthy, because it's like, oh, I don't have time to cook like a home cooked meal. Well,
Yeah.
if you prepped one part of it during one part of the week, and then you had some other things that were prepped maybe the week before that are frozen, and you just combine everything, and then also going shopping and having a list, and then making sure that A, you stick to that list, and B, that you have recipes for
Leftovers.
those, yes, and the leftovers, and so to extend your dollar, and that way that you are able to extend your dollar, be more mindful about your wallet, but also what you're eating, and being mindful of your time too. And that will create more joy, because you're not spending an arm and a leg and all your time being able to eat well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think time is the biggest thing for why people don't eat well. And yeah, I agree with you. And so, yeah, an action step could be setting aside one day of the weekend to just prep food, right? Or even batch cook, right? Cook stews, soups, those are really great. Or bakes, things that will keep and freeze for a long time, and you can just pull out of the freezer and then it becomes quick. So those are great ideas. And so an action step could be, spend an hour prepping food on Sunday. That would be an action step. Or batch cook veggie stew on Saturday, for the week. And then you can always use that in different ways. Yeah, great idea, Elizabeth. Thanks. And we always know, and we also know that Marlene's is a great place to get healthy food. That's my pitch for that.
I just found out that our salad bar is officially open. So
nice. Okay.
Oh,
there is some COVID precautions. There's some gloves.
Look at that. Mila's at Marlene's.
Yay.
That's fun. That's awesome.
Yeah. And oh, sorry, I was reading something in the chat. Yeah, so if you want to stay healthy, save some time and some monies, come down to our deli.
Yeah. Marlene's is really great for that. The deli. I mean, it's like quick food and it's healthy and it's good. Yeah, exactly.
Delicious and nutritious.
That's right. And their smoothies are great there too. Mila's there now. That's awesome. Cool. Thanks. Anybody else want to share? These are great ideas.
If I could say one more thing about John Kabat-Zinn, I found out in mid-March that he had started to teach an online course at the beginning of March, and I was too late to register for it. But there's the course is being offered through a company out of Colorado called Sounds True.
Okay.
And they have amazing free, they send out webinars. They've been sending links to me since the beginning of March. And I'm gonna type the website in the chat. It's just soundstrue.com.
Okay.
They have an incredible set of webinars.
Great. Thanks for sharing. And I believe Yale, was it Yale? I forget which university it was offering a free mindfulness class at the beginning of the pandemic, but I don't have the information for that. So, but yeah, definitely there.
They just had a webinar last week about compassion and self-compassion.
Awesome. Very cool.
Radical compassion, and it was wonderful.
Working on cutting veggies so they're accessible choice for stacking. Thanks, Elizabeth. So Elizabeth put here, she's working on cutting veggies so they're an accessible choice for snacking. That's another great prep. Just cutting up carrots and celery sticks so they're easy to grab and go, and dipping crudites, cucumber, peppers. Yeah, great. And then gardening.
I actually did that last night with I had cut up a bunch of carrots, had some rice crackers. I knew I was going to be on the go. I didn't want to go out anywhere because I have a lot of food sensitivities, and I pre-cut those carrots, and I had me a container of bitchin sauce, which is sold locally at Marlene's.
Nice.
And the chipotle one is my favorite, spicy, but not too spicy.
Great, thanks. And then gardening. So that kind of combines both activity, so increasing activity and great food. And especially now that it's spring, summer coming, people are outside more. Dorothy, I know you have a great garden and you harvest a lot of veggies there, and being able to eat straight from your garden, that it's organic, where it's coming from, and saving money for sure. Great. And increasing the activity that brings you joy and energizes you, hopefully. And I think Elizabeth,
if an apple is cut up, I'll eat a bunch of it. If you just give me an apple, I don't tend to even get it started.
That's right. So an action step could just be.
But nowadays.
Well, that's exactly kind of what David was saying. As if you have a guitar or a musical instrument, if you don't see it, or if it, then you're not going to play it as much, right? So same with vegetables. If they're not cut up or prepped already, you're not really going to be as inclined to want to eat it. So cutting up veggies, and even, even getting frozen veggies or canned veggies, somehow adding veggies, if that's difficult for you and you really don't like the prep, then
I do well with frozen.
Yeah, Dorothy does well with frozen. Yeah, it's great. It's a great alternative, a kind of a stepping stone, and that's fine. There's no shame in that.
And you know what's very interesting about frozen is that there's different steps of the food processing industry, is that frozen is actually freshest.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
harvest it and they freeze it.
Yeah.
And what's really, so, you know, each one is a different step. And I think canned is a little bit lower on the spectrum of quality or freshness,
Yeah.
but baby food is the bottom of the totem pole. And I was just blown away. I was like, like we're feeding our babies this? Like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, so anything in those cans and or jars, I should say, are processed definitely for sure to keep them preserved there. So, but yeah, frozen's just as good as fresh. Yeah.
David
Thanks for
made a
sharing
point
that.
for me to get my clarinet out of the garage.
There you go, Gail. Glad we're inspiring you. I'd love to hear you play. One of my favorite instruments, the clarinet.
It'll be a while.
Yeah.
Oh, so you know what's so amazing is that we have a bunch of musicians for this talk. I'm also a musician, and one of my goals is to get my jam room a little bit more in order and have it a nice creative flow to it. And I also used to play clarinet in school, and I play sax and mandolin and sing. So I just think it's so amazing that a lot of our goals or things that bring us joy are centered around that creative expression, which I find is really important right now, especially in these times of this pandemic. And we are drawn to those things, I think, a little bit more because it's kind of like what you said earlier about it's like our souls kind of getting reawakened, so to speak, to what is important to us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for sharing.
Elizabeth, I think the same thing could be said true about art supplies. Like if they were out in the open, you'd be more likely to use them, right?
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, you have your canvases or your color pencils all like neatly lined up. That's actually what I'm going to be doing with my space, is having everything in order and having my paints and my canvases on a shelf, and so I could just be like, oh, let me just pull this off.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Get to town.
Cool. Absolutely. Yeah, that's something that I picked up through the pandemic is painting. So I've definitely been painting a few times a week now during the pandemic. So
Do you like it, Hansie?
yeah, I love it. It's great.
Oh,
Yeah, it's very relaxing for me, and learning different techniques, and it's fun. It's good. And now, there's so many on like free online classes on Facebook and YouTube. It's so easy to just look for inspiration. So it's great.
Oh yeah, you can just spend an afternoon with Bob Ross.
Yeah,
and
I know.
pandemic painting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, cool. So great ideas. Hopefully good action steps for you guys. And anybody else want to add anything before we go on to the next category? Were you going to say something from Morgan, Elizabeth? Is Morgan on Facebook?
That was that first message was from Morgan.
Okay. All right, cool. Awesome. Thanks, Morgan. She must have gone from here onto Facebook, but I'm glad she's still on. All right, so cool. So then the next category is our relationships. And this is what David had mentioned before we started. And so thinking about your relationships, and it's actually great through the pandemic. So when we really haven't had very much contact, which ones were really important to you? Kind of made us think about who we actually want to keep in touch with, right? In the pandemic, and who we can. So the pandemic kind of almost helped us spring clean our relationships in a way. But just thinking about your relationships and who you interact with, just mindfully thinking about which interactions or relationships drain you. So who, when after you talk to, do you feel like, oh gosh, I'm glad that I'm on the phone with them, or who, when you see their caller ID on your phone, you just groan and you don't want to pick up, those people. So what interactions, relationships drain you? Who gives you negative energy? So who, like after you talk to, kind of riles you up and makes you maybe more frustrated or angry? This could be a family member. This could be a significant other. So just kind of thinking about those people, could be a coworker. And on the other side, what interactions or relationships energize you? Which ones, who do you call? Who have you called through this pandemic? Who have you had to kind of keep in touch with through this time, through this year? Who supported you through this? So again, writing down those two sides there. Which interactions and relationships drain you? Who gives you negative energy? Kind of makes you turn into that person that you don't really want to be. And then on the other side is what interactions or relationships energize you and who supports you. And you might notice that it could be the same person on both sides here, right? We often have those people who we love to hate. We have love-hate relationships with, often family, those closest to us. There's no shame there, but just realizing, just noticing. And if it is the one person, what is it? Is it a specific interaction? Are there particular types of interactions that drain you? Are there particular types of interactions that energize you with that same person? Are you able to distinguish that? Or maybe topics that you talk about. Or maybe you just do better without talking and with more touch. Maybe that's more energizing for you and you'd prefer that as opposed to actually talking. So just, thinking about those two, the aspect of your relationships. And again, the pandemic kind of helped us maybe be more aware of our relationships, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who stuck by you? Who were you able to really do without? And we're okay with that. Who are you excited to see now that if you're vaccinated or now that things are opening up? That's kind of another gauge that you can use. Yeah. And again, when you're ready, you could just feel free to share, chat, comment, or unmute yourself. And I know David had mentioned earlier, that his partner, it irritates him when she's watching TV, that kind of drains him or riles him up, and so, we'll kind of get to what can we do to help minimize that, or how can we avoid that, or deal with those interactions.
This doesn't really directly answer the question, but I thought I'd bring up something that happened just recently. I've had a good friend. I thought he was a friend for the last 15 years or so. And last week I was very busy and he called me like 3 times in a day or two. And I just I couldn't answer the phone when he was calling me. And then he just kind of cut me off entirely. And I tried to apologize, and but I realized I can't make him continue to be my friend. And sometimes you have to let relationships go as well, even though
That's right.
it's painful sometimes.
Yeah.
And a similar thing happened to me maybe 5 or 6 years ago. Somebody I worked with left the job, and I thought we were good friends, but he just wouldn't, maybe because he went to work for someplace else. We just he didn't want anything to do with me, and it was painful for me also.
Yeah.
So, I read on a website recently, it's okay if a relationship comes to an end. It could be a natural thing, or you can't force it.
That's right. Yeah, so it sounds like you are able to accept the natural course of the interaction, the natural course of the relationship, and just be able to let them run its course and let them go. Yeah, they can be sad. Thanks for sharing that. That's important too. Kind of meaningful relationships and meaningful relationships at the time, taking them, being thankful for them while you have them, enjoying the moment with that person, for sure. Yeah.
Also one for me is who drain me is people. So I'm a very giving person. I'm a people pleaser. I love to make sure that everyone is comfortable and happy. But when people see that, they think that they can take advantage of my kindness. And in years past, I've had to really learn some hard lessons. And I tend to I'm just one of those people that would give the shirt off my back for you. And so creating borders,
Yeah, boundaries.
yeah, and boundaries have been a huge deal for me. And letting someone know, like, this is my clear boundary, do not cross it, or else I will be cross with you.
Yeah. And I know you're not the only one who has problems with boundaries. So how have you been able to say that to the person, or what have you been your words of choice that you are able to express to say, hey, enough is enough in a kind way, right?
Yeah, in a very kind way.
Right.
So in years past, there's been some people that actually had were living with me, and they stole from me. Stole my great grandmother's ring that I will never get back. And there's some other things that occurred while they were here. But the next roommate that I had, I was very clear about, like, okay, I have this experience. These are my boundaries. Do not cross them, or else we're going to have a conversation about you living here, and continuing to live here. Yep.
Yeah.
And I realized just that those lessons alone helped me create boundaries in other aspects of my life, that like other friendships, and even boundaries with my family, where I would allow sometimes to just have them walk all over me. And I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna be the peacekeeper. I'm not gonna speak my mind here because I don't want anyone to say it.
Right, to upset. Yeah. And how have you felt after making those boundaries?
It was
How'd you
so relieving. Like, it was like all this anxiety and pressure that I had felt before, like, oh gosh, I don't know. And then now it's like, no, this is my truth, and I'm speaking my truth. And I feel I've gotten more self-confidence that way.
Yeah, that's great. So learning from past experiences and being able to express them. And oftentimes, yeah, we, as people pleasers, we often feel like, I don't want to, upset anybody. But then after you're able to create your boundaries, it's like, hey, it's cool. There is a sense of relief there. It is hard to take that first step though, because we do feel like we're offending people, right? But
yeah,
knowing your boundaries.
It could definitely be scary, but it's like, as soon as you say it, they're like, oh, okay. And you're just like,
yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't know it was that easy.
Yeah. You often find that there's nothing to lose, right? There's nothing to lose, and there's a lot to lose if you don't set your boundaries, like you learn to. So, yeah.
Can I share something that I wrote?
Yeah, go ahead, David.
It'll just take me a minute to read it, but recently, a few months ago, I did what's called a Wellness Recovery Action Plan, or WRAP. And one of the prompts in the WRAP was, what are some things you can do to prepare for being in high-risk environments or around difficult people? And I wrote a three-step answer.
Great.
Limit exposure to high-risk environments or around difficult people to specific times, dates, occasions, and/or durations.
Yep.
Number 2, review or make an inventory of your boundaries and be prepared to remove yourself or respond otherwise from the encounter or if they are crossed. And the third thing I wrote was, prior to the encounter, devise, contemplate, or prepare an exit strategy or de-escalation / engagement strategy for the boundaries or cross contingency.
Yeah, that's great. And how has that worked for you? How have you been able to play that out?
Well, I wrote this out. I can't really say I've been looking at it every day or practicing it that carefully, but it's something I really put a lot of thought into it, and I need to practice it.
Yeah, it's absolutely. I think that's great. I know, you guys definitely aren't the only ones who have problems with boundaries. We often are nice people. we wanna help people, right? But I like that idea of planning ahead and knowing, hey, at least in your head, you don't necessarily need to say it out straight, but knowing, hey, this is what I'm able to tolerate, and this is what will happen. This is what I'm going to do if they cross the line, and kind of preparing that in your head, mentally preparing so that you don't just kind of get pushed, right? Kind of get pushed so close, and you're like, oh, okay, and then giving in. But just knowing where that line is and making it hard and fast. And I also like, preparing to deal with difficult people. I know I also often encourage people to say, hey, if you don't want to meet with somebody at that time, you can prepare and set a certain time. Say, hey, I'm not available now, but I can meet on this day, on this time for this amount of time, so that it's on your terms as opposed to kind of getting shoved and pushed with your, getting used for your time. And then you're able to mentally prepare that instead of set aside that time. Those are really great tips.
One thing I learned many years ago, I read a tip that said, a tip from Miss Manners. I don't know if any of you are old enough to remember Miss Manners, but it said the telephone is for the caller's convenience. It's not for the person.
Yeah. And I know Dorothy, you're often called. Dorothy's also a giver. And she's often called at odd hours, and always willing to give. So definitely something we all struggle with. So then I guess the next question to think about is, and David already kind of wrote this down, but 3 action steps. How can we deal with the interactions that drain us in order to lessen the irritation? So sometimes we can't avoid them, right? We're always going to be in interactions that perhaps are difficult. And so how can we lessen that irritation? Or the other side again is, how can we increase the relationships that support us, right? So maybe we can do that by just after getting off a phone with somebody who just drained us, calling somebody who's gonna support us and energize us, right? So that could be a solution too. So thinking about those three things that you can do, and David actually just shared his 3 things of how he can deal with that. And I like those 3 things. How you can deal with interactions that drain you in order to lessen them. And on the flip side is, how can we increase the relationships that support us? And also, thinking about the types of interactions. So if you have the same person on both sides, again, how can you increase the type of interaction that energizes you? Again, going back to what I had said before, if it's touch, perhaps you can do more touch. If it's spending time together, perhaps you can do activities together, cooking together, right? Gardening together, rather than necessarily talking.
Can I respond to that one too?
Yeah, go ahead.
How to increase the relationships that support us.
Yeah.
Every year I order a new day planner at the end of the year, and I write down all of my friends and relatives' birthdays on the day planner and anniversaries. And on those days, I call them, and if I can't reach them, I sing happy birthday over the phone. I leave them a message.
Yeah, that's great.
Usually pretty happy to receive that.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah, that's great. I do the same thing. So can definitely relate to that. Thanks for sharing. Great action step ideas.
We used to have a friend that was either really fun or really a hole in the head when you called her and you were going to do something for the day. And you could tell when she answered the phone. And I learned to say, "Hi, Jean, how's it going today?" And she said, "Oh, I'm just, really, and I just knew the whole day was going to go downhill, and I was going to go downhill." And so I said, "Well, I'm sorry to hear that. I hope you feel better tomorrow, and we talked to her a little bit and then hung up." And if she was in a mood where she said, "Oh, it's really neat." She said, "Did you see the weather out there? It's just beautiful." And I said, "Yeah, I was thinking we could go do something." And
Yeah,
so
that's great.
you
Yeah.
kind of, but I had a friend who used to call her and get caught in it every time. And then she said, "I just hate going with her when she's in that mood."
Yeah.
And I never went with her when she was in that mood.
Yeah, because you were able to gauge it beforehand.
In a nice way.
That's
So
great.
nice.
Yeah, so that's a great tip for how to gauge those interactions about what to do with that same person. So
You don't have to X them out, but you just why waste your time for that day, because they're not going to perk up. I mean,
Yeah.
every time we spent a lot of time together over the years, and she was either a great friend or you were sorry to see her calling, right?
Yep. Yeah. And you play to her strengths, right? You play to her being a great friend.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's great. I mean, the more you know somebody, the more you can kind of tease that out, and to avoid them when they're in that mood, and it's going to be a great day if they're in a good mood. So I love that. That's great.
Yeah, I had another friend, and every time you got together with her, there was an older lady, and she would have watched all the news, and Marvin be in the car, and she'd start with all the downing news. And it bothered my friend that used to go with her, and she'd say, I'm not going with her anymore because this is what happens. And I said, "Well, that's funny because I don't have that problem." She said, "Really?" I said, "No, when I get in the car and she starts to tell me about some sad thing, I say, I was just looking forward to getting up in the mountains, and I just thought, we'd just go for a drive or something." I said, "I've just heard news until I really can't hardly discuss it anymore."
Yeah.
And the whole rest of the day we did something fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Good.
Can I
Yeah. So
bring
kind of changing your perspective.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, David.
I want to bring up one more point. So I talked about my friendships, but one relationship you really can't eliminate, and maybe you probably don't want to eliminate, is with family. And I know I have a much more problematic relationship with my brother and sister. Typically my brother only calls me when he needs something from me, and I have a kind of a difficult relationship with my sister as well. And what would you say to that? I mean, you have siblings maybe, or how do you deal with difficult relationships in that regard? Because you can't really end those relationships.
No. So that's a really great question. Does anybody want to share their answer? I do have some ideas, but I just want to see if anybody else has any solutions themselves. So sometimes like you could do exactly what you had said, David. So when somebody calls and it's difficult and they're calling for something, going through what you had written yourself for those action steps. If he's asking for money, your limit for the money, right? Like, hey, I can help, because you want to help them to some extent, right? You just don't want to get used. You don't want to just get pushed over your limit. So knowing that beforehand. If they are calling at a time where you don't want to talk to them, or it's an inconvenient time, then you can, or they want to, or if it's somebody that it's not somebody who was going to hang out with you all the time and you just don't want to spend time with them. But if that was the case, you can always say, I don't have time right now, but I can call you back on this time and this day, and I'll listen to you, whatever. And then you're mentally prepared for that. But also, changing your perspective. Gail had great examples of that, and playing to people's strengths. So, I have an uncle, and he, I guess I get, I don't know how to describe it. Maybe I just won't use that example. He's a hoarder, and he is on his computer all day and listening to music, and it doesn't seem like he's productive to me. And so I see that, and sometimes I get annoyed, and it can annoy me. But yet at the same time, when I talk to him, he's full of knowledge. And I know I can ask him some things and he'll know the answer. And so I play to his strengths, when I know what to ask him and I know what not to ask him, right? I know that some questions that I'm going to ask him, he's just going to go off and I'm going to be bored out of my head. And I know some things that I can ask him and he'll know the answer and he'll be able to help me. So that's what Gail was kind of alluding to, knowing that person a little bit more, playing to their strengths, and playing more to their strengths, actually, even kind of almost seeking them out in a way. And that can strengthen the relationship while also avoiding the part of the relationship that drains you.
Can I ask David if he ever initiates something to the brother, so that not calling and asking for stuff, but just calling to do stuff or talk about something, and just so that it isn't always him calling for something, and you initiate the other.
I initiate. I call him.
Pretty
frequently
often?
once in a while, but usually the only time he calls me is when he wants something from me.
Yeah.
He doesn't call me. He doesn't call me to ask how I'm doing or to check in or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I like that idea, Gail, kind of calling to do something with him. So shifting the type of relationship instead of like a give and take, maybe you're sharing an experience together.
Of the day. So the event, whatever you do.
Right, exactly. Sharing an experience and shifting the relationship into more of an experiential one as opposed to a give and take. That's a great idea, Gail. Cool. Any other suggestions or comments? This is tricky, relationships is always a tough one to spring clean because especially with family, but just kind of giving you a different perspective and thoughts. And again, the pandemic helped that a little bit. So the last one is time. So thinking about how we spend our time. So maybe even just thinking about today or this week. What are your time suckers? What sucks your time? Facebook, internet, what are your time suckers? And what do you spend most of your time doing? If you just think about today, what did you spend most of your time doing? The kind of just in between stuff, traveling, getting to places or in between doing things. And what would you rather be doing? What brings you joy? And this can also go back to some things that we talked about already with activity, right?
I'd like to start off with that one actually too. I have an idea. There's a motivational speaker and I can't think of his name right now, but I'll find the video up before the end of the call. And he says that when you wake up first thing in the morning, don't go to your computer and check your email. Do something positive first, because the inbox will always be waiting for you, even later in the day or later in the evening. And that kind of reminds me of Stephen Covey, his technique of first things first.
Yeah.
And so, so I just wanted to point that out. You don't have to jump into your email the first thing in the morning, unless it's your job, and then if you have to, you do. But
but even still, you don't really need to, right? But yeah. So after you make those lists on one side, what are your time suckers? What do you spend most of your time doing? And then on the other side, what would you rather be doing? What brings you joy? And then thinking about, again, those 3 action steps. How can you decrease the things that are time suckers? And how can you do more of the things that bring you joy? And it could be what David was saying, like my brother actually mentioned one, like movement before media, right? In the mornings, movement before media. So going out for a walk before you look at your phone or check your email. Or some yoga, right? Or meditation before media could be a one. Anybody else have? Yeah, go ahead, Mila.
When I first wake up in the morning, I think of 3 things I'm grateful for, and that's how I start my day.
Excellent. I love that. Great action step.
Yeah, that's good.
And you could also do that at the end of the day, right? 3 things you're
Exactly.
grateful for.
I usually fall asleep at the end of the day.
All right. Well, good. That's great. That's a great one. Always gratitude is a huge thing that adds depth to our life too and brings meaning. Thanks for sharing.
Thank you.
How I start my morning is when I'm getting out of bed. Well, before I get out of bed, I do a lot of stretching. And then similar to Mila, with her starting her gratitude list, the first step I take, I say to myself, and then the second step out of bed is thank you. So thanking the day for being present, for me to be present in the day, and yeah, to kind of start the gratitude, like what I'm grateful for. I'll just kind of be like, oh, I'm grateful for my cats that snuggled with me all night. Oh, I'm grateful for this potted plant I have, like I'll
Yeah.
just kind of start absorbing like all that I'm grateful for.
Yeah, that's great. And they don't have to be big things. I love how you point those things out. Yeah.
It could be a clean pair of socks that's super
Yeah.
cozy.
Or a good night's sleep.
Yeah, I'd be like, oh, I'm so well rested. I'm so grateful.
Yeah. That's right. No, I love that. I love that idea of starting the day with gratitude for sure. Excellent. Anybody else have any action steps or anything they want to share, or struggles, challenges for time?
I'll add one
How to
more.
spring clean your time. Go
I'll
ahead.
add one more thing. So about 3 or 4 years ago, I did the diabetes prevention program through the YMCA here in Newcastle, and I'm happy to say that I lost a lot of weight. I lost about 45 pounds in the last
Wow.
3 or 4 years.
Wow.
One of the key principles was intentional, not just exercise, but intentional exercise, setting aside time to do the exercise, regular exercise. So it has to be intentional. It doesn't mean just like walking around Costco or the supermarket or anything like that.
Yeah, that's great. So that could be an action step, walking 30 minutes a day at this time, and making that set in your schedule. So being intentional about it, knowing that you're doing it. Yeah, great. Again, a good action step. Anybody else? Any other suggestions or action steps that you can implement this week or now? Cool. So if nobody else has any, and again, you could always chat, but if nobody else has anything to share, then that kind of comes to the end. So we went through 4 aspects of our life, and you now have 12 action steps, hopefully. Maybe more, some ideas at least. It doesn't have to be 12, but at least you have some ideas of how to start to spring clean your life. And looking at these 12, that's a lot. So you can think about which ones resonate with you most, right? And which one, really, you don't have to do them all, but which one can you implement this week? It just has to be one. So just choose maybe 1 or 2 to implement this week. And hopefully you got a lot of good ideas. We had a lot of people sharing. Appreciate that. And appreciate you guys being here. And again, I'm going to type my email here. Nancy at integrative.net. And also my website is integrativehealthandwellness.net. I'm typing it in the chat here. And you can sign up for my newsletter there. Or if you want to just direct message me your email, I can add you to my newsletter just about future workshops. And I am giving one at Marlene's, or not at Marlene's, but through Marlene's in June on Qigong and movement, more movement and meditation, kind of breathing. And that one will be more physical, gentle movements, but more movement.
Can I say
That's
one
on
thing?
Thursday, June 10th at 5 p.m. and it's free to attend.
That's right.
Nancy?
Yeah.
I just wanted to tell you, I went to one of your workshops at the King County Library in Issaquah a number of years ago about posture.
Yes.
And that's another intentional thing that I really learned from you, and I appreciate, because it made me really think about my posture as well.
Yeah, thanks, David. That one is actually one of my most popular workshops. And it's great to do in person. And I'm able to do it online. So if that's an option, through Marlene's as well. And I hope to be able to offer that again in the future too, because that's a really great one for everybody. And hopefully when we can start meeting again in person.
To put on the schedule, and because people get really bent out of shape.
Yeah.
With their
That's right.
backs.
That's right. I actually have a YouTube video on how to create an ergonomically savvy work environment, workspace from home. And it's actually through the King County Library. They had asked me to put together that video, and it kind of makes you take a mindful look again. I always take a mindful aspect of things when I do my workshops, kind of make people think about it, because everybody's different, and thinking how to individualize it. So you can find that video, I think, through KCLS, though I don't know how to navigate through their YouTube, but I think it's on their KCLS YouTube page, as well as through my website under videos. You'll find that.
What's it called?
I think I sent it to you, Gail. How to create an ergonomically friendly work.
No, I recognize it. I
Yeah,
just
yeah,
didn't-
yeah. Yeah. It's about 20 minutes long. It's actually longer than I thought. So just know that it's a little bit long, but it goes fast. So
Well, it has lots of great information, and people can start to be aware of their posture for that 20 minutes.
that's right. That's right.
Do you have
Cool.
any exercise on posture that is on
Yep,
YouTube?
So on my website too, I have
Okay.
a blog on posture.
Okay.
And I actually talk about those 5 things. They're similar things that what I do in the workshop, in the in-person workshop.
Okay.
So that's on my website too. But that's a great point, Dorothy, because I think
struggle with
probably YouTubing or doing a video of those exercises would be good too, or of my workshop. That'd be good. But yeah, but anybody have any questions about this workshop or about any other future workshops or about posture? Cool. Well, thanks for coming. Thanks for sticking through. I hope you guys got a lot out of this, and I had fun, and I hope you had fun. And go enjoy your dinner if you haven't eaten already. I guess I'll stick around a little bit for if you guys want to
What
chat.
was the website that David put on earlier?
Soundstrue.com.
Soundstrue.com. It's one word, right?
Yeah,
Soundstrue.
SOUNDSTRUE.com.
Okay.
That's right.
They'll be offering the John Kabat-Zinn workshop again in the future, probably, but I was too late to register for it.
And did you say that was free, David?
No, it's
Okay,
not
no,
free.
yeah.
But some of they've been sending me links to the free sessions as well.
Yeah,
by other
I think they
people.
do have some free sessions, yeah.
Let me offer one thought at the end is it's my experience that if you leave your picture on there, you feel more of the group. And,
Yeah.
and the block of you that are hesitant to do that, I don't think you get the same feel out of it.
Yeah,
You might just try that next time, because you can always turn it back off if you don't like it.
it's never the same as in person, but I'm still glad that we're able to do this. So
Yeah.
I'm so
too.
grateful for everyone who was a part of this. Grateful for you, Hansie. We are going to sign off of the Facebook Live. So everyone say goodbye.
bye, Facebook Livers. Thanks for
Bye.
coming.
Bye,
I'll read those
Facebook
comments.
Livers.
Thanks, Mila.